What is up guys, Vortex here, and today I'm going to be showcasing you another gameplay video showcasing my favourite deck, Bagra Army. And when I mean favourite, I mean I hate this deck, quite frankly. My opponent, good friend, is going to be playing Shakkoumon. And yeah, if you are new here, please do feel free to subscribe and ring the bell so when new videos come out, you'll be automatically notified when they do. And I'm uploading every other day now, hopefully, so if that interests you for more gameplay, deck profile, and some more stuff coming out in the future, yeah, feel free to subscribe. But anyways, let's get into this game. We have a pretty good start here with the Soundbird one, and then also getting the Tamer ready. It sucks that I have to play the mat on its own, essentially, because, well, I would rather have the U so I can get the additional draw and memory. But I need to get my stack going, so I'm going to end my turn here by going to Mad Leomon. Digi crossing for a reduced cost, so it only costs 3. And I think Mad Leo is definitely the best card in this archetype for sure. Just loads of cards in this game, like search the top card, especially like the rookies and like Tamers. So having that is pretty neat, and also discard is actually quite a rare mechanic in Digimon. So my opponent's going to swing with the Angemon. He's not punished and goes and hits the Soundbird one, which is really good, and he sets himself for future plays by playing the Kari. So a pretty good setup here, essentially going to have 4 memory every turn, which is pretty huge. I top deck the U here clearly, and then I'm going to swing. Hopefully it will die. It does indeed die, which means I get to save underneath the U to gain myself an additional memory and draw a card. And as you can see, I'm playing the version where I use Eismon scatter mode to really advance my board state, really find the Tamer and the combo pieces that I need from that I can put in my trash for the Tactimons. And so here I'm going to end my turn by playing Tactimon for a reduced cost of 6, giving him 7. And yeah, I really like Tactimon in this deck. I'm not too sure if it stays after BT11. I'm getting scared thinking that I have to play this in BT11, but I think it's a really cool card. And I just really like Tactimon as a design. I can't remember what set he came out in. I think it was BT5, where the artwork was really cool as well. So really like this, and I like the fact that it just summons 2 guys for free, and it actually allows you to play on-play abilities. So stuff like Shakkoumon, the Troopmon, the Chikurimon that's coming out in BT11 will be able to trigger. So really cool. And also, like, I think it's the Damemon, which allows you to play the Tamer for free. So, but it doesn't really matter because you're not going to be playing it for like 12. So he's going to like 7 heavens this down to 2k, and then he's going to swing with the Pegasusmon, use Cody to delete the Tactimon. So actually a really good use of deletion like option, DP reduction options, and with his deck, because he gets the additional memory with the Patamon here. And I think he's just considering what else he wants to do. I think something happened, but essentially I think he's just considering, actually I don't know what he'd be considering here, but it doesn't really matter, so it's all good. He swings at security and hits the miss memory boost, so pretty good hit on my part half, because essentially now I'm able to go 5 memory. He swings with the Angemon and he hits Death the Cannon, and I was kind of surprised about how powerful this card is. Obviously, it's kind of like it's obviously Beelzemon support, but it's also just a nice removal card in itself. So I'm going to promote the Eismon scatter mode here, and then I'm going to swing with the Mad Leomon. It's going to save, which allows me to draw and gain additional memory. And at this point, the Bagra Army cards are actually just kind of just vanillas at this point. Swing at security and go with the Cody. And then it's the Seraphimon. Yeah, they're kind of just like vanillas at this point, because essentially it doesn't really do anything on the field unless it has sources, or it is a source, and that's kind of problematic. So I'm in a really good position though. My opponent could have potentially a lot of memory on the next turn, probably around like 5 or 6. Oh no, it'll be 5, sorry. I go Shakkoumon, I go for the U, and then I also discard. Not too sure if I agree with that, thinking about it. Yeah, because Digimon says you could add the Tamer and a Bagra Army. So, pretty important to say the least. I'm going to play the U to give him 3, which will then give him 5 because of the Codies. So, I think, yeah, so I do it there. And so we've got to clear the board here and also avoid potential Blastmon, because Blastmon is kind of like the end game finisher for this deck, and it's clear that he just hasn't hit the Shakkoumons, unfortunately, and this is one of the problems with this deck in general. Like, it does heavily rely on the Shakkoumon because it just means you get a lot more deletion. You also get a lot of recovery, especially over the Angemon. So at this point he has to clear the board, and it kind of sucks because if he swings into the Eismon and kills it, I essentially get like a lot of cards and a lot of discards ready to find that Blastmon. So he's just considering what he wants to do. Got to have like some sort of recovery. He's going to use the Cody effect while swinging to delete the Shakkoumon. It does gain me a memory and pass the turn to me, but as he deleted something through DP reduction, he also gets to gain a memory, so it just goes equal. And then he uses an option to delete the Eismon, which obviously he needs to do just to make sure that he can stay in this game. But it does allow me to Fin, obviously, for the Blastmon. And, you know, it's pretty much if I have the answer, I have the answer, and I'm pretty sure in this case I definitely do have the answer. I have the Blastmon, I could put 3 underneath it from sources, and it gains Blitz, and so I swing for game. Alright, and we get into the second game. My opponent goes first, Digivolves into the Patamon, and then ends his turn by going into the Pegasusmon. So I start my turn by going into the Demimeramon, and unfortunately I don't think I have a level 3, so I have to play the U Amano. So he then promotes the Pegasusmon and then swings into the security. It lives because it hits the Eismon scatter mode, and he passes me to 3. I then have a level 3 Gabu, so building up that stack, and then I play Buzzing Fist. So I get to look at the top 3, add 1 and then trash them, and then get to play a Bagra Army underneath a Tamer. And so I put it under U Amano, gain a memory and draw a card. And so I'm building up quite a big hand here, and this is what Bagra Army is supposed to be. Like, when you have like all this consistency where it's like, oh yeah, I can play this option to get a card and then also put one underneath a Tamer, and also, you know, it gets really good, but unfortunately it takes a bit to actually get there. So my opponent is going to swing at the Pegasusmon, hits into a Death the Cannon. Obviously has armor purge, so it stays alive, and then he goes reinforcing. And so this is one of the first times I actually get to use Mad Leo, because it adds a card and then puts one into security, which means I get to use the Mad Leo effect to discard one, and then he has to trash a card. So he just trashes the Shakkoumon, and then I get a memory. So pretty good. Like, when that stuff happens, it's obviously really good, but it's just a shame it doesn't happen enough, quite frankly. Maybe we'll see it being a little bit different in BT11. So I swing with the Eismon scatter mode, hits an Angemon, which means the Eismon obviously dies, which means I get a lot of draws, which is lovely, and also get to set up my discard as well. So this is like an optimal thing that you want in Bagra Army, quite frankly. Like, having, you know, drawing all those Tamers that you desperately need, discarding some of the Bagra Army so you can come back with Tactimon. Very important. So I swing with the Madleomon, I gain a memory and draw a card because of the save underneath the Uemano. And then I'm just considering what I want to play here. I do have quite a lot of memory considering where I was at the start of the turn. So I play another Buzzing Fist, gets a look at the top 3. Not too sure what I want to add. Sorry for the cut there. My battery died and I didn't realise it. But I'm going to put the Shakkoumon and add the Soundbirdmon here. Just because the Soundbirdmon I think is probably the best level 3, quite frankly. It does so much. But essentially what me getting a lot of memory allows me to do is to play Tactimon from my hand for a reduced cost of 7. And it's a bit weird, like obviously the Tactimon provides so much value. It provides basically 3 bodies on the board and it allows you to interact with your opponent as well, because the sources are discarded from Tactimon instead of the Madleo and the Troopmon. So having that kind of control is, it's actually pretty good. Again, it's just if those effects will activate, essentially. So he goes into a Shakkoumon, recovers 1, and I don't think he's deleting. I don't know if I can't remember the other second effect of Shakkoumon. I think it is delete something lower or equal to the security when you attack, maybe. And so, it's obviously not optimal here because obviously he would love to DNA Digivolve here, but it's rather unfortunate. So I get to swing at security, and then I don't know what happened there. I think he was targeting. I think he was just using Madleo, one of the inheritables, to reduce the Madleo by 2k, I believe. Not too sure. I've been dragged around all this night apparently, but he's going to potentially pop the reinforcing memory boost. Obviously I can't really interact with that because it's not an option, it's not a Digimon or Tamer from the Troopmon, and obviously it's not drawing cards. So he's going to pop the memory boost there, go back to 3. I'm so grateful that this reinforcing card is limited because it is just so strong. Clearly he doesn't have a level 3 unfortunately, so his plays are a little bit staggered, but he does play an Angelwomon, and so as he played it I get to use Troopmon to basically discard a source and then gain a memory. So essentially he passed me to 5, which is, allows me to do a lot more on his turn, or my turn even, sorry. And so I'm going to swing with the Troopmon. It is going to die, so I get to put it under the Uemano, which allows me to gain another memory and draw a card. And this is what I'm saying, like when you get these, this constant feedback loop of you hit something, it dies, it goes under Uemano, it works so well, but sometimes it just doesn't do that, unfortunately. I go for the Matashida just so I can get another Tamer just in case there is some sort of deletion. Then I get the Buzzing Fist, then I immediately play the Buzzing Fist. And I'm just considering what I want to put underneath the Tamer, because at this point I obviously get the idea of the deck, but I was just kind of curious about how I should do it, essentially, because do I want to be put in the Shakkoumon under it compared to maybe like a Troopmon, a Damimon, that kind of thing. So at the end of the turn I end up playing Madleomon for a DNA Digicross cost of 3. And yeah, like I said before, like Madleomon just crazy strong because it is just so cheap, and it does quite a lot, especially if it's an early turn as well. Like if you have Madleomon on turn 1, it essentially locks your opponent down because most of them are more likely to play like rookies that say, look at top 4, add 1, in archetype card essentially. So thankful for that. Anyways, during this downtime, what decks do you actually want me to play? Because I've been playing a few decks here and there, but I actually haven't really asked you guys what decks that you would like to see. So if there are any decks that you would like to see, please let me know in the comments down below, because I might be able to make it happen. make it happen for a future gameplay video, especially as BT10 format is going to be, or EX-3 format is going to be lasting a while. So I'm going to swing at security here. I'm going to save, I'm going to use Demi Mirror. There has to be something in the security. I'm going to swing with the Mad Leomon, and unfortunately there isn't, and that is game.